And now for the closing conversation of our event. Very, very pleased to have with us on stage, Eijiro Yamakita, who's the President and CEO of Japan Travel Bureau, JTB. Good afternoon, Eijiro-san. How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon. It's a little bit strange, sitting on the stage and talking to the screen. But nice to meet you again.
I know, but you know what I was thinking is like we've really never met in real life, but we've actually met virtually 3 times. But the fact today is that you're actually on a physical stage and I am still in a virtual screen. It shows that we've actually made progress during this pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
in some ways, right? So
new style of meeting. Yeah?
Exactly. So so I want to thank you for coming here on a Saturday afternoon. For a very busy executive, and so I'm curious, like, if you weren't here in this conference, what would you be usually doing on a Saturday afternoon? Any of those amazing experiences that were shared just now by the last panel?
Mm-hmm. It's really important for me to move around, just walking and go to sport gym and building the muscle. That's really important habit on the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. I think there has definitely been a fitness and wellness explosion during the pandemic for all of us. So let's get down to business, okay? So you're going to come up to your financial year soon, and I know it's been a really grueling 2 years for all of us. And in your financial year 2020, which really starts from April 1, you had an operating loss of 97.6 billion yen. How do you expect this coming financial year to be?
That was a really tough year, 2020. But we made a lot of changes of organization and the cost saving, restructuring the organization. As a result, our cost structure changed a lot, improved a lot, and as a result, at the first half of 2021, we recorded 67 million US dollar profit. That's 6.7 billion Japanese yen, profit. And the perspective is quite okay in the latter half of 2021. So we expect a profit this year.
That's excellent. I think COVID has definitely disciplined all of us to really look at costs. The other thing that, another change that it has forced on companies is the number of employees. And so in financial year 2020, the number of employees was listed as 23,785. So what is the current number now?
Current number of the staff is 20,000, a little bit more. At the end of September, we expect a little bit decrease in the latter half of the year. So around 20,000 is the current number of the staff.
Okay, so then I looked into your report and we have a slide here showing the segment overview for your financial year 2020, which I thought was interesting in terms of the percentage of segments, and the slide will come up soon. But it really shows, the segments of like travel within Japan, and then you have Japan outbound travel to overseas, and then you have Japan inbound travel from overseas. And here you go, here are the percentages. How do you expect financial year 2021 to pan out in terms of percentage?
Yes, the business environment related to travel business has never changed between 20 and 21. There is a slight increase of the domestic travel. Domestic travel is the major part of the business in 2021 as before. So overseas travel, inbound business to Japan is very much limited. On the other hand, we built up non-travel related business in 21, so that make a little bit change of the portfolio of the business for JTB Group. Yes.
Okay, so you've actually sort of grown a new segment, which is non-travel related business. So this morning we had the JNTO basically saying that, you know, inbound travel is so limited that I think it's like 20,000 visitors, you know, from the 32 million in 2019. So such an incredible collapse of the inbound industry. So I know that when we last spoke in October, you know, at WiT, you were really quite bullish, you know, and people, you know, you were predicting like a bright future. You cited high vaccinations, and you said, you know, there were government measures to open borders, right? But then, hey, you know, with this crisis, something new always comes along, and then we have the Omicron variant. Do you still remain optimistic, and do you feel that the government should continue or, you know, push ahead with its go to travel to try and stoke up domestic tourism again?
You know, I am always optimistic, you know, so there's no change of my analysis for the future. And basically the travel trend is very stable. And although of course, the business, you know, volume itself decreased a lot within 2020, 21, and 22 also started steady growth. So up and down, repetition with up and down, but the basic trend is the increased trend, and there is very solid demand for the domestic travel at least. So there's a, you know, established base of the business in 22, and with the stimulation promotion activities including the government support, you know, that is really important to boost the sales in 2021, 22. Yes.
Right. You know that there's a study that shows that actually 80% of humanity has an optimism bias. And, you know, I always believe that all of us who work in travel, probably 100% of us have that optimism bias, which is why we work in travel. So basically, I mean, yesterday we had Eric from Klook who said, you know, COVID or no COVID, you know, 2022 will be about growth, right? Because all companies have kind of established, as you say, a baseline and from domestic or local travel. But, you know, in the US and Europe, I think, you know, the industry has been very vocal about getting governments to open. In the UK, they have, you know, like scrapped PCR tests for departures. Singapore is going to push ahead with its vaccinated travel lanes. So we hear from the government. Do you feel like Japan could be a bit more bolder about opening its borders gradually?
I don't think so. You know, Europe, Americas, the way to boost the sales, push the government is a little bit different. As you said, it's vocal. On the other hand, Japan also proactive to collaborate with the government industry. You know, that's really important movement I see in the 2021. We did a lot of session discussion and how to reopen the market. You know, that was successfully done. So I think the movement is surely done together with the government.
Right. Right. So you feel that the industry collaboration with the government has been strengthened during this pandemic, so that when it reopens, you know, the recovery will be much stronger, because you feel like it will be a lot more coordinated. Okay, so that's very good news. The other thing is, I guess, you know, pre-COVID, when we were doing our WiT Japan, and this is our 9th edition already, we kept hearing about the sentiment in Japan to liberalize, you know, and globalize. You know, and do you think this period though will encourage Japan to kind of reverse the process and say, okay, well, you know, we have a big domestic market, right? You know, so we don't really have to open too soon. So do you have that sort of fear?
No,
or concern?
I don't have any fear about that. You know, of course, the business trend is the concentrating on the domestic travel, because there's no other way. But the attitude to open the country, liberalize the the movement of the people, this never changes. So when time comes, Japan is always open to the other countries, and the global people should come to Japan. That they're most welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think there are 32 million travelers out there who are just kind of waiting to come to Japan, and there are 20 million outbound Japanese travelers waiting, at the gate to also travel to places like Singapore. So we've heard during the last 2 days, yes, it's all going to be about domestic travel, whether it's from Taiwan or South Korea or Japan. And there've been some really interesting, what I've learned is there've been some really interesting products like Otera Stay, which is converting temples into, wellness retreats, for example. 20,000 temples are going to disappear in Japan. You got 8 million abandoned homes. And so it seems like there's a very sort of a creative, adaptive reuse of infrastructure. For you, though, what do you think has been like the most interesting innovation in domestic travel that you've seen in the last 2 years or the last year?
Before pre-COVID in 2029, inbound travelers rushed to Japan, and that is why all the destination had been preparing, welcoming foreign tourists. And as you say, the temples, changed into the Japanese traditional inn. That kind of movement was already made in 2019. And if you visit Nara, for example, traditional town in Japan, very, very old houses turn into the very attractive Japanese inn. So that kind of infrastructure was already established in 2019, and that was used. That has been used for the Japanese travelers in this recent 2 years. There's a really nice movement, and the Japanese people rediscovered Japan, and that will contribute to the future travel in Japan. So rich content.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
I was particularly interested in sake tourism. There's a company that has bought a sake brewery and brewing a sake, and apparently Singapore is one of its main markets. So I'm really interested in sake tourism. So a lot of creative ideas so that when Japan comes back, when we are allowed to come back to Japan, we will have a huge array of interesting, authentic experiences. Okay, so let's come back to JTB, right? And so compared to pre-COVID, in which area do you think that you're stronger now?
During these difficult years, 2020, 21, we focused on the customer experience part. We urged 20,000 staff looking at customer only. That's really important movement for us. So understanding customer requirement and how to improve the customer experience, always aligned with the customers. That attitude made the customer experience much better than before. Introducing the point of contact, digital technology. So it's on the way, but I think the point of contact with the customer at the same time with the destination, has improved a lot.
Okay, so much more customer obsessed company now, and with a lot of focus on destination experiences as well. Okay, in which area is it weaker compared to pre-COVID?
You mean less competitive? You mean? I don't think.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, weaker. Of course the market is very weak. So overseas travel, inbound travel was used to be very, very important part of the business segment of JTB, and which has gone, so that was why the development of new product for the overseas travel, inbound promotion, these kind of areas are not developed during 2 years. But we are trying to prepare for the, next stage. So some important development is also made at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, so earlier we had the head of strategy investment for the Lion Travel Group, which is Taiwan's, he kept saying Taiwan's #1 publicly listed travel company. And they are investing a lot in travel tech. They've invested in travel startups as well. And they are also investing in the destination. So I wonder what has been the biggest tech investment that you've made to achieve your outcome of this sort of end-to-end customer journey that you said that you're stitching together at JTB?
First priority was the interface with the customer. So of course we used to have the real contact point at the travel shop outlet. At the same time, the online travel portal. But these two were not linked to each other well. So in order to improve the customer experience, the experience on online and offline has been merged together. So people is now experiencing a better and seamless, point of contact to the travel agent. So this is one of the area we made a strong investment. So like, for example, the remote control service, was introduced in order to, relay our human strengths to the customers online, So people living in the Tokyo metropolitan area can consult our staff on living in Hokkaido, right, by online video conference, and involving the destination people, like a hotel people, ryokan people can join in this conversation, so that we can introduce the destination very well. That's one of the area. The other part is the corporate, interface. We do have the corporate business together with the major corporations, foreign multinational Japanese corporations. Everyone suspended the event, in the world. So event was all canceled, but immediately we introduced the online event, technology, and that quality has improved a lot. So this part made a lot of difference before pre-COVID situation. So, yeah.
Like what we're doing now, a hybrid events.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I think in the first days of tech, when there was a big tech wave, everybody talked about how we can go high tech and low touch, right? But now there is the possibility to do really high tech at the same time high touch.
Exactly.
And earlier I think earlier we had a speaker from Kotatsu now who said that JTB was using their chatbot exclusively for their services. So it's really an example of high tech and high touch. Okay, so this time last year too, you announced your partnership with Agoda to deliver revamped Rurubu Travel and Japan Nikan.com websites. What has that partnership delivered you so far?
Of course, the user interface and the user experience improved, but what was most important was for us to improve the marketing activities, using the Agoda technology. So we can now grasp the individual customer requirements one by one, very in details with the technology. So marketing activity has improved a lot with Agoda. Yeah.
So one lesson of COVID is companies coming back to core competencies, right? So you had Airbnb came back to focus on accommodation and community. Expedia, for example, selling off Agencia, corporate travel, they're not going to touch that. And then kind of partnering with Agencia. Which areas do you think JTB needs help with that in terms that you're looking for partnerships or that you're going to be exiting if you are?
Yeah, our idea is to improve the, customer experience from the pre-trip to, on the trip, after trip. So, there are a lot of areas we need the collaboration with the tech companies. Particularly at the destination, we do need the tech company to collaborate, and we have some alliances already, but we need more. And also the pre-trip situation, we need technology more. So there are a lot of people we want to collaborate with. Yes.
Okay, so particularly pre-trip and after trip.
On the trip,
the two areas that you're looking.
Pre-trip, on the trip, yeah. At the destination.
Pre-trip and on the trip.
Yeah.
Okay, at destination.
Yeah.
So which brings me to my next question. So I managed to travel, Ichiro-san, to Paris and New York in November, and I had lunch with a French investment banker who's very interested in travel. And he felt that the destination management company part of the travel chain is kind of undervalued, right? Because the DMCs are actually the ones that are looking up the travelers in the destination. Therefore, they're really, really important in terms of pleasing the traveler. And he feels that they are a bit undervalued, but at the same time, they're kind of underinvested in tech. So you were with Kuoni for a long time, which is known for its DMC business. How can DMCs, you think, innovate and kind of prove their value right now in this new, digital age of travel?
Destination management companies still very important in order to improve the customer experience anyway. So in order to make the customer experience rich, we use for example, a very experienced guide, for example, introducing the very attractive contents and how to make itinerary. It is also the important part of the destination management activity. So, destination management company need more, of course, technology part in order to improve the customer experience. And these need to be seamlessly linked with the market. This shouldn't be independent at the destination. So market experience should be linked with the destination experience. So again, the technology part is also important.
Right. So another topic that has come out a lot during these last 2 days is luxury travel, premium experiences, right? From cruising and in Taiwan, Lion Travel saying, they're looking really at 95% of that market. So what are you doing to go after this luxury segment? Are you creating like a new high-end brand or a collection like some companies have done for luxury experiences?
Luxury segment is extremely important for us, and we do have the exclusive, for example, for the inbound travelers, exclusive division named the Boutique JTB, for example, who understand the luxury market very well, country by country. Of course, a royal family, these kind of people has a very special request. So quite tailor-made, but this kind of division is extremely important to develop anyway, including private charter, cruise, as such. That's really important contents for the luxury market. So we formed the new division, segmenting the luxury market a little bit more in detail. Demand is very different, but even it is categorized as a luxury market. So so that's one of the example of the development at this moment.
Yeah, I was at Cruise World in Miami, and the cruise companies were saying that all their cabins with balconies were like being sold out first, and onboard spending has absolutely just increased. So another big trend is hybrid work, remote work. We heard from a panel earlier, and you've had to sell off your headquarters in Tokyo and an office in Osaka, right? And Trip.com Group has also introduced hybrid work trials, like 3 days in office. What's your strategy to be more flexible with work culture?
Yeah, selling the headquarter building was, of course, in order to liquidate the very heavy fixed asset into the usable, financial. So financial consolidation was made, but as a result or on purpose, we have changed the work style a lot, and the very flexible remote workers very well working from home and from the destination when they are also traveling. So remote working, and some people are working from a hometown. So we don't ask people to move to Tokyo, for example, living in the rural area together with the family, but still working very hard.
So there are lots of studies now to study productivity, at remote work versus office work, to to see whether there is like a rise in productivity or a drop in productivity. So very, very interesting times. And then I have to ask you a question about we had Kathy Matsui from the Empower Fund yesterday, talking about gender diversity and talking about the high representation, that women representation in the workforce in Japan is pretty good. It's at 70% pre-COVID, but the representation of women in leadership and executive positions was still very low in Japan compared to other nations. So is that something that JTB is going to be actively addressing?
Yes. I am determined to improve the situation. There are a lot of challenges at this moment, but gradually the more women are included in the management section, and the step by step that is really necessary for us, particularly in the travel industry. We need the our brand slogan is "Perfect Moment Always." In order to achieve the perfect moment, we do need to diversify the people, So we do need of course, intention. At the same time, we need to introduce the rules, regulation, in order for people to, to make it possible.
Yeah, intention is one thing, but execution is another, isn't it? So do you think that targets is a good way to go, like having quotas and then getting people to work towards a quota?
Well, targeting, of course, 1/3 of the total management people, it should be a different gender. That is one of the target we're looking at. Might take some time, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so finally, just rapid fire. One word to describe 2022 for you.
As you may know, the one Japanese character of 2021 was gold. There was a lot of gold medalists of the Olympic Games, but in 22, I would say the open should be the key word for industry. Open, yeah.
Okay.
So
it's a good word.
Yeah, in the various meeting, opening the border, first of all, opening the travel. Of course, what is more important is to open human mind. That is that tend to be very much closed. Stay at home and just looking at the internal things, but open to the world, and the mindset should be open. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And finally, is there a Japanese quotation that you would like to share with us to inspire all of us about 2022?
Well, after experiencing a very tough time, I would select one of my favorite words, Yukini taete baikaruashi. That means, plum trees bloom most beautifully as it stand and they overcome the very cold, severe winter. After this tough time, the plum tree should be blooming very beautifully. That's a Japanese saying.
Wonderful. So, all right, here's to all of us planting trees to overcome the severe winter, which, is hopefully going to be ending soon, because everybody says that maybe this moment could be the beginning of the end of the pandemic. And so we certainly hope so. So thank you, Eijiro-san, arigato, for helping us to end this very unique edition of WiT Japan and North Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Saturday
Pleasure meeting.
Join us. Thank you.
See you physically next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Progress. Okay.